Q&A. Please use the Q&A section for your... Okay, we have one question. Okay, so let's see. For example. So Yasmin, the question for us is, how could this quality control approach be generalized to non-LiDAR data sets? For example, for images, videos, does it rely heavily on point cloud? I guess this is probably from your last case study. Yasmin, anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, for sure. The approach for doing QC kind of in an automated way, like there's a variety of techniques. The one that I shared about LiDAR is just logic for a LiDAR specific use case. If you want to take that to images or take that to video, this is actually where GenAI comes into the picture or can come into the picture, right? You have, human annotation, and then you have models that generally have knowledge about the subject or use case. So if you give the same item to a person, give the same item to a model, they probably have some level of agreement between each other, or they may not. It really depends on the use case. But if there's a level of agreement, it can be mathematically calculated to say, okay, how much agreement is there between the person and the model? If there's not enough agreement, maybe that is what you surface for QC validation to say, okay, there's not enough agreement here. Is it something wrong with GenAI, or is there something that we need to adjust in the task guidelines or with the people doing the annotation? So it can be used in that way to also surface some of these questions and to surface the results that aren't that may be problematic.
Yep. Well, it makes sense. Let's take the other question. Can you talk to us about how multimodal data sets get labeled in your workflows, especially for foundation model development? Yeah, so I think Yasmin, I'll take this one, feel free to chime along, right? So multimodal data set can essentially mean, right, any sensor modality, audio, maybe some text, right? So when it comes to the workflows, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of times we have to review the audio in context of the scenario that's being played. Like, for example, there's a lot of emphasis right now for vision language action models, VLA models commonly call them. So in that, you a lot of times have the audio from someone who's operating in the field with some scenario, camera images, or even LiDAR or radar in sometimes. So you have to take all of this different channel streams into your workflow or into the tool, and then use the sort of requirements of the project, whether it's correcting the audio syntax, or it's correcting the response of the robot, or understanding the behavior of that particular robot, or whatever is the product that we're working on, and so on. So yeah, Dataloop does a good job in providing these custom fields, so we can create and we can edit these fields as required. So it's you got to one thing I would leave you all with one point is that you need to design your workflow to that particular project. I think some of these complex projects do not have a template cookie cutter thing that you can just take it from one previous project and just paste it. You have to design it that meets the efficacy of your team, as well as meets the of course the requirements of the platform or specifications of the platform that you're working on. All right, so that's that. Probably last question more for Yasmin, last at least, which is here. Does Dataloop support integration with commonly used large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc., etc.?
Yeah, for sure. Dataloop platform is here to do it all. So whether you're building your own model or whether you're using third-party services, Dataloop can integrate with those models. Typically, you will have services through Google Vertex. So you just bring in your Vertex API token, connect that into Dataloop, and then you can use all of the orchestration capabilities inside of Dataloop to connect with those GenAI models. So yeah, totally supported, whether it's a third party or on Dataloop or otherwise.
So Yasmin, also just make sure, if this is probably a specific question about these models, but if there is a separate LLM or whatever SLM that people have, if it's hosted on their server as well, you guys are able to integrate that, as long as they can of course share the token and the link and so on, right? So it's all customized.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So many enterprise teams will have their own versions of an LLM hosted on-prem inside their environment, and they can expose that into Dataloop and then make it accessible that way. Or if you have, like I was explaining with Claude, if you have a subscription there, you can connect your API token and connect to it that way.
Great. That's actually a good question. All right, last one. Can you explain about ground truth for labeling and how precise it is? Well, it is precise. That's why it's called ground truth. Yeah, so I mean, the fundamental of ground truth is you're just building a data set which is, like it's ground truth, right? So you need to be precise with respect to your annotations. You need to not overfit or underfit if you're dealing with like bounding boxes. You need to make sure the distribution of data is pretty normalized in the space that you're operating. Otherwise, you will be much more sensitive to one kind of data attributes compared to the others. So it really depends. I mean, it needs to be very precise. That's why we have some of the ground truth quality assurance and control automation that Yasin was talking about. These are actually really helpful because it helps to weed out some of the erroneous data points in the ground truth data set, so you don't have to worry about them, and you can focus more on the actual, the true positive data points. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be the response. Yasmin, anything else you want to add there?
No, that was great. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I think that was the last question. Any other questions from the team? Or anything else? Doesn't need to be a question, could also be a reflection. We can hang in here for another couple of minutes.
This morning I was listening to Lenny's podcast. He has an interview with the CEO of Scale AI and everything that has happened with the Scale AI acquisition with Meta and everything afterwards. And it's just fascinating. They're talking about how they evolved over time as well. It just keeps evolving so quickly. Like there's no one that's ever knowledgeable on everything with AI and machine learning, and being able to stay agile, try new techniques, keep experimenting. That's what all of us need to do. And you need to also bring in the domain experts that know this data, understand the relationship with that data, and bring that out. So yeah, it's such an exciting time to be in this space. It's so fun to see what everyone's doing and be a part of it.
That actually is a perfect, you almost made it sound like a closing statement. So great. I think with that, we again want to thank everyone who joined this session. We'll make sure the webinar recording is available on our websites that you can kind of tune in and refer if needed. Forward it to your colleagues, to people who would be interested in such conversation, and tune in for more such interesting sessions between DDD and Dataloop. We'll be doing more of this. Thank you and have a good night, good rest of your day. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.